I'm going to plant one apple tree and show you start to finish. When you look at the tree, here's the roots. It's a bare root tree. And this is the root stock here, and you see the graft union right there. And we want the soil level to be 2 to 3 inches below that graft union. So just at the roots or right above the root. I'm not putting any amendments in my soil. Using native soil from all the directions I've read is the best way to go. Just using your native soil, and then all of your any compost or amendments, and I'm putting in a variety of mineral amendments as well as compost, is all going to go on top. The hole I dug originally was about twice as big, twice as deep as the root system, twice as big around. If you do have a strong prevailing wind, you want the prevailing wind to push this way, pushing the grafted stalk onto the root stalk rather than pushing this way, which would make it more likely it would split off. So I'm going to gently fill in around these roots, trying not to let the roots get smashed down so the roots are nice and spread out. If you plant your tree too deep so the soil comes up to the grafted stalk up here, the grafted stalk will actually root into the ground, and you'll effectively get rid of the dwarfing qualities of your root stock. So root stock is used primarily for limiting the size of a tree. This is semi-dwarf rootstock. I think that's a 50% size rootstock. That means this tree will end up about 50% the size of a seedling apple tree. A seedling apple tree ends up, growing to 30 feet. So these trees will end up at about 15 feet tall. The semi-dwarf trees are spaced 15 feet. So from this tree to that tree right up there will be 15 feet. And then from this tree to the dwarf trees out front is 11 feet. I'm going to take the sod from the grass that was in this area and place it around the bottom of the tree here. And you always want to place that upside down so that the grass will end up dying off and not growing. Next, I'm going to put my mineral amendments around the base of the tree here. These minerals are azomite, rock phosphate, and also gypsum. And this is basically the mix that the Fedco tree catalog recommends. So we're putting it on the surface here. And don't really ask me how much I'm using. Basically I want to end up with about 3 to 5 pounds of each of these on the surface around each tree. All of these are pretty slow release, so it's not going to burn the tree or mess the tree up. And they'll last for at least a year or up to a year. The next thing I'm going to do is put a bucket of leaf compost around the bottom of this tree with a pretty good spread, and just spread it around here. And then lastly, I'm going to mulch around the tree with old hay. I could also use wood chips, and I'm actually planning on putting chips in this whole area. I'm going to place a ring of hardware cloth around the tree to protect from voles. And then there's only 2 more things I need to do for this tree. I need to water it really well, which I'll do this evening. And I'm also going to put a ring of welded wire about 5 feet high and about 3 feet across around each of these trees and stake it to the ground to keep the deer away from the tree while the tree is actually vulnerable to being eaten. Deer will actually eat the wood and the bark from these trees and can kill them or really stunt their growth. So every single tree is going to have a ring around it